and then you can go right ahead.
Okay. Good. Okay, so that's my altar, and here is my sacred cup. So I'm going to go ahead and take this with me outside, and you guys are going to get to see how I do these things outside. I mean, we're doing spring cleaning. All right, so let me try and find a good angle for everybody. It's not gonna entirely cover things up. I apologize, but my phone is the only thing I have right now to record. You guys can see everything like that, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Audio might be, I don't know how well that's going to be, but we'll reconnect after that. And I'll just kind of walk you guys through the thing that I've been developing recently. Hail to you, doorkeepers, gate masters, guardians, keepers. We thank you for an amazing grammatical. Now this song is pour out these libations. Hail to you. Hail to all the presenters, gods and goddesses and spirits who are present. We thank you. We give you praise. We give to you because you've given. We give to you so that you might give to us. In accordance with ancient law, it's done. And as we sheath our blade, may the doors be closed and those who wish to close. All right.
I think we lost the audio a couple times in the wind, but
I'm sure you did, and I'd be more than happy. Yeah, that's why I kept it very simple. Just thanks for all the presenters and everyone involved, and also thanks to specific gods who were mentioned and evoked, like Sisonius, and we had some presentations on the divine couples and Taranis and everyone. So everyone who made an appearance was mentioned and thanked, as well as all the presenters.
Yeah, what we can do after you've kind of done your little show and tell with the travel altars, you mentioned you want to do like a kind of like a discussion with all the participants, so I can enable them to turn on their mics and
Yep. And you guys can go ahead and do that, and I think that we can just discuss what went well, what people liked specifically, or if anyone has any questions.
Okay.
Are you sleeping?
Oh, is that the young Reno spawn?
Mildly in the background. Yes, I'm trying my best to keep them out of it.
Sorry.
But yes, that's number 2, the sequel. Bigger, better, louder.
Yes. Say hi,
Yeah.
Queenie. Say Kunabella says hi.
Not better. The other one's not here though, so she didn't hear that.
Okay.
So now we are headed upstairs into my little workshop area. And this is where I did my presentation yesterday. And as kind of a side thing, and just for religious devotion, I do a lot of devotional jewelry making up here. So yeah, cool. Welcome to the shop, everybody. And Kuno, I have a sneak peek of your late birthday present.
Oh.
Don't know if you can see him.
Oh, that's so cool. That's the Ratian, the Val Carnonos,
Yep.
right?
That is correct. Yeah, and I did it on the shoulder bone that I did the reading for at the beginning of this year.
That's so cool. Thank you so much, dude. I did not expect anything that level of detail or time.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So my main thing with the travel altars that we've talked about recently is, people are always asking how to do this, especially in other communities. It comes up. Packing idols is hard, but just there's always a desire to do something spiritually. And so what I've been looking through is just historical examples thereof, and a few popped up that were actually even tangentially related to the Gaulish world, which I liked. So I'll go through those and then also talk about some other ways that I found for myself. So the very first is the one I talked about in my presentation yesterday, and you will also the one you just saw me do. And that is a 3-step rite. Pretty much any quote unquote weapon. Now, bear in mind, it doesn't have to be an actual weapon, but that would be great. We have examples of it being performed with knives as well as axes. But I think that, if you're have a different weapon at hand that you would think would be, nice. I'm going to stop using the word weapon. But if you had a different tool at hand that you think would be proficient, then that'd be good as well. There's also just the ability for stand-ins. I mean, mythical stand-ins are a thing that happens all the time. So if you maybe have a necklace that has a sword, or if you have a necklace that has a hammer or an axe, all of those would be wonderfully applicable as well, in my personal opinion. What's cool about a lot of this stuff that I saw that came from the Ratian background is that these things were not consecrated necessarily, or not dedicated solely to the purpose of ritual function. These were mundane tools that were used to establish connection with the gods, be that because we have closer relationship with mundane tools or not, I couldn't tell you. But like I said, with the Ratian, there's a few steps. I like to, number one, place my hands on my head, which would be the call to action. You need to think of this similarly as lighting the candle. And then here, I love to invoke Corononos, because he is a kind of sort of where I got a lot of the idea and inspiration from, what led me on the path. So this would be an invoking. Then next, if I was going to perform something magical, I would assume the same position, the working position. And the way I think of this is that it is similar to sympathetic magic. It is not me performing the action, but variously the gods performing the action through the gesture. So I am doing what they do in order to affect and ask for change. Then I would take the blade and either lay it horizontally or drive it down into the ground. Either way, the blade could not be up, or whatever stand-in thing equivalent of the blade cannot be up, but it would be driven downwards, and so that it is no longer functioning in a weapon context. And then the offering would be poured out, then pulled up again. If there was something magical that was worked or not, I like to do this as kind of a cementing. It is a deed be done kind of position. And then once more up on the head and dismiss and close. And easy as that. What I like about this is that even if you don't have a cairn like I just did, I mean, can't say that that's a relatively common thing. Even if you don't have a tree or an idol, by taking the knife and driving it into the ground, you create an axis mundi. So it is very similar to the Germanic Irminsul or the Gallo-Roman Jupiter columns. By driving this into the ground, you are connecting the 3 worlds. You're connecting the underworld, you're connecting Bittis, Midgard, whatever, the middle world, and you're connecting Alba, the upper world. By driving this knife into there, and boom, you've got a stand-in for pretty much any idol or anything. So this is a really handy way, which actually brings me to my second version, which is a version that was used by the Scythians as well as the Huns, possibly the Thracians. No idea on that. Though some people who have some Thracian elements in their practice did like the idea when I floated it to them. But basically, we have several writings that says that Attila and the Scythians, they had no gods, but they worshipped a sword. And then we have other people saying that, well, the way that they perform religious rites is by driving a sword into the ground and then putting branches around it. And that's essentially their altar. So once again, this would be an even shorter, more concrete version to do this. But if you have a blade, drive it straight down, and then you establish a base. And again, you're tying the three worlds together. You can pour out your libation, done and done. The other ration thing that I talked about very easily is just having a little stone. It's very similar to the stone bowl offerings. Carry that around with you. This one carries about a thimble's worth. So it's more symbolic, but it's nice to be able to take this out and then put it in there. When you're done, get rid of it. So those are some 3 options. I've also done a lot of other stuff. I think quarters and coins are really cool. If you live in the US, quarters are your friend. There's so many cool image-specific quarters that only cost 25 cents a piece. And if you can track down or just stumble across quarters that have an image face that you associate with one of your gods, you've got a travel altar right there. I used to carry 5-6 quarters in a tiny pouch with me, and that was my travel altar. I would have a little cloth. I would lay out the cloth, and then I'd put down the 6 coins, and you'd have it right there. So that's another version that I think is really good. Yes, glad you mentioned the Mercury dimes. I see someone popping up because in order to dedicate to Mercury, this is exactly what I've done. We've got some Mercury dimes here. So, and the Mercury dime that I normally you see me wearing around my neck, I'm not wearing him today, which I'm slacking, but that was my Mercury idol for a long period of time. So yeah, and that's what we did today. I did a dedication of all of these tools as well as the Mercury dime. So thank you, Vidu, for that one. But yeah, and I think that the sky's the limit when it comes to travel stuff. And it's super, super easy. You just got to get creative with it. And that's why I think the more things we can repurpose, like if they're mundane things, you just, if you happen to carry a pocket knife, that's it. Establish a relationship with that. Same way, if you have a signature scarf or a hoodie that you wear, and if you do the the head covering, I'm sure there's a way to incorporate that as well. And yeah, here I want to show you the very first draft, as you would say, for travel altars that I ever made. And this was when I was a baby Norse pagan, but already incorporating Gaulish elements. I had no idea the Gaulish community existed at the time, but I'd already done some of that. So you've got the old man Odin, you've got Anonos. And what I did is I just went out, I got these, I think for $3 total. And yeah, I just painted various images on them, and I kept them wrapped up in a piece of cloth. And then I would take them with me. I would unwrap the cloth. I would position them so that they were upright, leaning against a wall or something. And there I had it. So yeah, I hope this given some sort of inspiration to what I perceive to be a common conundrum or like a minor little nagging thing that bothers people about their praxis. And I hope you're able to take something from this with you. So yeah, that's that. And if anyone wants to talk about it, anyone has any ideas, or you want to talk about the presentation specifics, please go right ahead. It's open now. We're just going to hang out and talk a little bit.
Those were wonderful suggestions for travel altars, I must say.
Good. I'm glad you liked him.
Yeah. I've been very impressed with this Comraton, with pretty much everything I've seen. When I first started Tautagalation, I didn't imagine all of what has been coming from it and from the Gaulish community. I have looked at some of the blogs that are out there, and some of the, I'm sorry, my picture is moving all over, but I can't hold my hands very steady. I've looked at some of the blogs I've seen, and some of the artwork that I see coming across my Twitter feed and my Instagram, and it's amazing. And this Comraton has also been very excellent. I've been very happy to see what I've seen, which I think I saw all of it. The only I must apologize to the people who put on the Frankish presentation, because I drifted off toward the end of their presentation, and that's why I didn't praise them. It was an excellent presentation, and it was my fault that I drifted off. It's the result of getting 2.5 hours of sleep last night.
Yeah, that'll do it to you.
Yeah. So thank you all. Thank you to those of you who organized it, who I believe are Cunobelinus and
Artatis.
just a minute.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nertatis.
Nertatis. Yeah, Nertatis. Thank you both for organizing this. I'm sorry, Nertatis, Nertate, that I forgot your name. It's been really excellent, pretty much down the line. I've actually learned some things about Mercury devotion in historical Gaul, about some of the ways Mercury was depicted, that are very interesting. So thanks again, and I'll shut up now and turn off my video. I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time, and I want other people to have a say.
Thank you so much, Segomâros.
We're super glad that you were able to come and that you were able to see things. And yeah, and then thanks once again, because there are people inspired by Gaulish practice and people who'd been doing personal stuff a while ago, but you really brought a lot of popularity to that. And I still say that Ancient Fire is on a must-to read. It's a good primer for when you want to step into this world. So thank you so much. I saw I
do want to give credit where it's due. I think Widugeni has been doing this longer than I have, or he's been public longer than I have. And there are other people who've been doing it a lot longer. There are some people in France who've been doing it since the 30s. So 90 years. But I'm glad I was able to put it in terms that were accessible, and that a lot of people got a lot out of it.
Yeah, that was the most important thing, like to just present it in a way that's easy to for people to digest and to adapt from their current neo-pagan practices. That is the hardest thing for so many people, and just once they get over that hump, now it's just like people are kind of taking it new places that are just every day. It's incredible. Just as a note to everyone is that if anyone else wants to jump in here or to our discussion, you all can you can unmute yourself if you want to share any of your comments out loud. But
Vidu, I saw your question pop up, but I'm on mobile now, so I'm struggling to find the chat button again. And you were asking about a TSA safe version for the pocket knife. And So that one, like I said, you could do a stand-in, like if you have a devotional jewelry that just happens to be, I don't know, a little bit larger or something. I don't know how the TSA is with letter openers, but that might be possible too. Or if you have something that mimics the shape but has no blade, perhaps even a plastic sword is something that's made maybe for I don't know. You might be able to get away with it in that capacity. That might be really, really cool. But
do you know those little like those cocktail rapiers that you like put through like the candy cherry for your drink?
Yeah.
But yeah, and also Vyvaine, good point. You can take pocket knives and checked in luggage.
That's true. That's true as well, and that's what I've done in the past. I also, for a long period of time, would carry a box cutter, just because I found that in my urban life, a box cutter came up far more than a pocket knife did. And I know that with those bad boys, you can just click the blade out and you could just get a different one at the location. So that's what I used to do.
Oh, that's really smart. Yeah, I mean, that's just the whole thing where, like, people would carry around pocket knives a lot more often because it was just useful in day-to-day life. But yeah, it is a very modern version of it.
So yeah, if anyone else wants to talk or has feedback or just wants to chat, please hop right in. I'm currently a little bit inspired, and I'm gonna give my hand here at making a little carnonos, and we'll see how it pans out. I've never tried antlers before.
I think it was really amazing from Baroki's presentation, like learning about how old the bear and the antler moose elk cult has been going on for years and years and years.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy how much of that stuff was retained in what we see in Gallic imagery too. Oh, you just reminded me of something. Something I forgot to mention all this time. Everyone's letting me talk. Is that the Gaulish swords is actually what first pointed me towards the Scythian. The Gaulish knives and swords from around the Lachen period that have the little men as handles. That's what got me looking at the Scythian stuff in the first place, because I saw that little handle and I'd heard some French guy talking about, how that was the anthropomorphic spirit of the sword, or perhaps it was, a god on the sword. And I was like, well, if you just, then has anyone ever done that? And that's what led me to the Scythian stuff, which in turn led me to the Reti stuff. But I wanted to mention that as well. So if you have one of those, I don't know, for reenactment purposes or something, that might be a really cool way to try it. Let me know how that goes.
There's a question from Flora for you, Reno, and I'll read it out because you're on mobile. They said, I'm noticing your carving. I wanted to start making some stuff myself, but when I look up stuff, I'm always suggested specialty items. Is it possible to use my pocket knife? I have a small one that's my ritual and craft knife, crossing over from being a traditional witchcraft, and would like to continue to use it for devotional work.
The only thing I would say with a pocket knife, like what I'm carving with right now, this is a really tried and true tested pocket knife. It belonged to my grandfather. The smaller it is and the smaller the blade is, the more force you can put on it. So if it's like big and wieldy and double-sided, I'd say no. But if you got something like this, I think they're called athme or something in witchcraft. But if you have one of those bad boys, as long as it's a knife that's capable of cutting, I don't see why not. But you might have more luck just going to any old Walmart and getting one of those single blade box cutters, not the extendable ones, because those will break off under pressure, but single blade ones, and going to town like that. And the number one thing with the knife is, always away from yourself. And what I found is better is smaller cuts instead of trying to chop big, just piece by piece. And they come up, is a very manageable skill. There are specialty items, but I'll tell you from personal experience, as someone who's bought specialty items, they break if you don't know how to use them. So what I found is a lot better, because I'm still learning this, is the box cutters or pocket knives, making small incisions, keeping the knife sharp, a million times more beneficial than buying specialty items and then being out all the money a couple weeks later because you were mishandling them and breaking them.
For sure. And we have Vyvaine wants to show off her travel altar.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I travel a lot and I'm also chronically ill and disabled. So I have all kinds of crap I have to bring with me anyway when I travel. And then also my joints hurt, so I can't be carrying a lot of stuff. So I do a lot of the stuff you do, like the travel alt. I have a sacred hoodie, and my knife doubles as my knife, and yada yada. But I also keep a full altar on my phone. And what that is a picture of my home altar. And I have a little Spotify playlist that has a couple different, like generally I just Google, like,
Smart.
I don't know, the Morgan, and see what comes up. Like other people have put together playlists or Beltane or whatever, and have them all saved. And I have a little online Druid animal oracle. So that's an app. I actually have 5 tarot apps, but I like the Druid Animal Oracle, and it can be my card of the day, which I guess is Earth Dragon today, or you can choose a card. So I have an actual one that I use at home. I have, I belong to the Cauldron of the Celts and the Koru. So I have our little prayer books or book of practices. So I can kind of, if I'm tired and don't know what to do, I can kind of click. And I have prayer cards, I have pictures, I have all my devotional photography here. And so another way I will do this is I will bring up one of my devotional photos or an altar or just whatever, put it on here. I set it up with a little sound or guided meditation. You get a cup from the hotel you're at, or, whatever you found along the way, and set it up. Find a little light if you can, like if you can bring a little, you can use a little like rechargeable candle, the little disposable ones, the flameless ones. But also, this is a light, this is magical. Cell phones are magical. So yeah, this is my travel altar, is this little page on my phone.
That is brilliant. I love that. Oh.
Yeah, it's hard to stuff. Yeah, I'm a terrible packer, so it's always hard for me to fit all like everything I want. So that definitely does help. Okay. I think I'm not sure if anyone else has any more questions or anything they want to talk about. I think this might be a nice chill moment to close out the Cymritan. But I have a travel altar that's on Altoids. I can withdraw it on index cards. Oh, that's cool.
Yep. I've seen that done before too. I love that because it's all compacted in one place.
Like when you use the part of the carrying container as part of the altar itself. Really efficient with space. Okay. In that case, let me pull this up. So thank you so much, everyone who stopped by to check out these amazing presentations. And, thank you again to our presenters for volunteering your time, both, for the presentation themselves and actually, putting in all the work and research that everyone did for their presentations. I have a feedback survey that we're going to end up probably emailing to everyone, but I'm going to put it in here right now if anyone wants to fill it out right now, just so, this helps us, go back and then to decide to try to like figure things out for the next meeting, for the next Cymritan, like stuff like, we tried going without the breaks this year, didn't work as well. We tried mixing up the times of the day, that I'm not sure if it worked super well yet. I wanted to review some of the information, but we're always constantly trying to improve this experience for everyone. So you're hearing from you guys is really important to that, and something that we appreciate a lot. So thank you again on behalf of myself and Tudigalation for coming out and spending this time for us, and have a great rest of the day. We are going to be live streaming on our YouTube channel later tonight in about, let's say, in about three hours. We're going to be live streaming on our YouTube channel. So you just go to YouTube under Tudigalation. We're going to be live streaming our ritual for the lunar eclipse, which is happening on the full moon as well. So that's something we do every month. And if you wanted to, you know, carry that through, that would be really awesome. Yeah, Brantente, thank you all for stopping by, and hopefully we'll see you all at the next one written.